Welcome back to the Final K. We can finally turn towards stage racing again with the 79th edition of the Tour de Romandie. In this video, I'm going to give a preview of the race and look through all the stages. I'm going to give 5 riders to keep an eye on throughout the week, and I'm also going to give a prediction for each jersey as well. I'm also going to be live for every single stage of the Tour de Romandie as well, so don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date. So the Tour de Romandie starts on the 28th of April, and there's going to be 6 stages at this race, and the first stage is going to be this one here. It is a 3-kilometer prologue. The only thing to note at this prologue is there's going to be an 800 meters, 6.9% ramp up to the final 500 meters of the race. This is stage 2. It is 171 kilometers long, and they do like 2.5 laps of a circuit doing the same category 3 climb 3 times. They then break off the circuit and hit a massive category 1 climb about 40 kilometers from the finish. It is 8.9 kilometers long and has an average of 9.8%, and the final 2.7 kilometers off this climb have an average of 10.4%. This is stage 3. It is 173 kilometers long and is a puncher's stage. There's a lot of rolling terrain at it. They're going to hit 3 category 3 climbs in this race, and they're going to hit the top of the final category 3 climb with 3 kilometers to go. The final category 3 climb is 3.1 kilometers long and has an average of 5.4%. This is stage 4. It's another mountain stage at 177 kilometers long, and they're climbing straight from the gate with a category 3 climb right at the start of the day. In the final 40 kilometers off this stage, they hit the main climb of the day, but just before they do it, they do another category 3 climb as well. So the main climb is a category 2 climb. It is 9 kilometers long and has an average of 6.1%, and then they complete the descent of the final climb with 11 kilometers to go. Stage 5 is the shortest of the stages at this race, minus the prologue. It is 150 kilometers long. There is still no mountain finish yet, but there are 4 categorized climbs and a lot of climbing to do. There are 2 categories 2 climbs and 2 category 1 climbs. So the first 2 and the last climb of the day all have the same name, so I don't know if it is an error, but they all have different percentages and different lengths, but they're all called the One Pass, so I don't know if it's the same climb, they're just doing a different route up it. However, the final climb of the day is a category 1 climb, and like I said, it is called the One Pass. It is 8.1 kilometers long and has an average of 8.3%, and they finish the descent of this climb with 10 kilometers to go. The 6th and final stage of the Tour de Romandie, and also the longest stage of the week at 178 kilometers long, and it's also the first time we do see a mountain finish. Now, there are 2 category 3 climbs in the middle of this stage, but then they hit the final climb of the day, which is 14.3 kilometers long and has an average of 5.9%. There is also a section on this climb that is 3.1 kilometers long and has an average of 7.7%. So now that all the stages are done, let's have a look at some of my riders to watch. Now, just before I do get on to that, I want to say that I am filming this a week in advance. It is currently Tuesday the 21st of April, so some riders could get ill, they could crash, hopefully not, but the riders that I do have down could potentially change before, next Tuesday. Also, in case you're wondering why it is all green, I didn't know what colours to use. I was going to use red, but I went on the Tour de Romandie website and they were using green, so that is the colour I've went with today. You can also see Joao Almeida there, last year's winner. He isn't attending this year, so we're going to have a different winner. So my first rider to watch at this year's Tour de Romandie is going to be Jørgen Nordhagen of Visma Lease Bike. I've got him on this list just because he's going to be Visma's main rider at this race. He's 21 from Norway, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's also been pulled up here to ride Le Flèche Wallonne tomorrow as Visma's main guy because Jorgensen crashed, so he does have a lot of pressure on him at the moment, but this season he has been doing very well. He went to the UAE Tour where he got 2 top 10s in both mountain stages and also ended up getting 8th in GC. He then went to the Volta Catalunya where he was working as Jonas' teammate, so he didn't really place in any of the stages there or in GC. He then recently there rode the Gran Camino in Spain where he got 4 top 10s including 2 second places out of 5 stages. He got 2nd in the GC, 2nd in the points jersey and 1st in the youth jersey. So with 2025 being his first year after being promoted from the Devo team, it looks like all the races that he did do last year are paying off with a very good start to this year. Now, I'm not going to expect a lot from him as he is still young, but Visma does seem to have a lot of confidence in him after selecting him to be the main guy at the Flèche Wallonne as well as the Romandie, so do keep an eye on Jørgen Nordhagen. I also forgot to mention that he did ride the Tour de Romandie there last year, in which he got 13th in GC and also finished 8th in one of the stages. My second rider to watch at this year's Tour de Romandie is going to be Primož Roglič. Now, he's a 2-time winner of this race, currently tied 2nd, and if he ends up winning it again this year, he's going to be tied 1st with Stephen Roche. Now, this season, Primož Roglič, he's been alright. He got 5th in GC at the Tirreno Adriatico and got 16th in GC at the Itzulia Basque Country with 5 top 10s across both those stage races. Now, those aren't the main reasons I've got him on this list. The main reasons are, he's a two-time winner at this race, so he knows what he needs to do to win it. He also looked very good with Lipowitz in the Azulia Basque Country when the pair of them were in a group with Paul Sexas and they were like rhyming off attacks with each other. And also the fact that this is going to be his last race for 4 months, as he's not racing from now until the Vuelta a España. So it's going to be interesting to see what Primoz Roglic does do at this race, because he isn't going to be racing for quite some time after it. So is he going to go for it? Is Lipowitz going to go for it and he's going to end up working for Lipowitz? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. My third rider to watch on this list is Lenny Martinez of Bahrain Victorious. Now, last year at this race, Lenny Martinez got first in the white jersey, he got second in GC, and he also picked up a stage win. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on Lenny Martinez because I have spoke about him a lot in recent videos, but we've seen him up against Jonas Vingegaard already twice this season, so this is going to be the first time we get to see him up against Tadej Pogacar. He went to the Paris-Nice and he ended up getting 5th in GC, and I do think he could have got a lot better if he didn't get caught in the echelons on stage 4. He also went on to win a stage at the Paris-Nice, winning the final stage after beating Jonas Vingegaard in a sprint. He then went to the Volta Catalunya, where he was also very, very good in, picking up 4 top 10s, including a 3rd place and a 2nd place. He got 2nd in GC at this race as well, and he won the white jersey. So with this form and going into this race, it's going to be interesting to see how he does match up against other riders that he still hasn't raced against this season, like Lipowitz, Roglic, and like I mentioned before, Pogacar. Before I get on to the top 2, as always, I want to give 3 honourable mentions to keep an eye out on. The first honourable mention being Luke Plapp of J. Coalula, as he makes his return to racing for the first time since the UAE Tour, which is the main reason I've got him on this list, as he finished 3rd in GC at that race, picking up 10th in the Jebel Mauber stage, and he got 2nd in the Jebel Hafid stage behind Isaac Del Toro. The next honourable mention being Valentin Paripantry, who went to the Paris-Nice and picked up 2 top 10s, including a podium. He then went to the Volta Catalunya, in which he picked up 2 top 5s at that race and also finished 4th in GC. My final honourable mention is going to be Oscar Onley of Ineos, and he hasn't had the best debut season with Ineos. Like, he went to the Volta Algarve at the start of the season, picked up 2nd in a stage and got 4th in GC. He then went to the Paris-Nice, but he unfortunately crashed in stage 4, continued on for a stage and then abandoned before the start of stage 6. And then he went to the Volta Catalunya, which he got a top 10 in stage 1, but apart from that, he wasn't really there in any other stage. So hopefully he can turn that around in the Romandie. So on to the top 2, with number 2 being Florian Lipowitz of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. So Florian Lipowitz and Roglic both line up for the 2nd stage race in a row, which is actually very good because the duo did look interesting in the Azulia Basque Country. When it comes to Florian Lipowitz's season, he went to the Volta Algarve, in which he got 8th in GC. He then went to the Volta Catalunya, picking up 2 top 5s, including a podium finish as well, and got 3rd in GC at that race. And then more recently there, he went to the Azulia Basque Country, picking up 3 top 10s, including a 2nd place finish on stage 5, so he's still yet to get his first ever World Tour race, but he did get 2nd in GC at the end. And the final rider to watch at the Tour de Romandie, and I'm sure you could even guess it before you even clicked on the video, it is going to be Tadej Pogacar. Now, every time he's on one of my riders to watch videos, I just don't know what to say because it's Tadej Pogacar. He's never rode this race before, so he's coming to this race in hopes to win it. He's most likely going to win it. The last time he did ride a stage race was in last year, the Dauphiné, where he got first in GC and won 3 stages at that race as well. And then he was at the UAE Tour last year as well, which he got first in GC and won 2 stages. So I'm expecting him to pick up maybe 1 or 2 stages at this Romandie. Potentially 3. I'm not 100. Maybe just 2. I don't know. He could win them all. He could turn around and win all the stages. But Tadej Pogacar is my main rider to watch at this race. And yeah, that's all I have to say on him. So as for my predictions for jerseys at this race, I'm going to keep it short and simple because I'm sure you can guess who is going to be in the jersey. So in the GC, I've got Tadej Pogacar. In the points jersey, I've got Tadej Pogacar. In the KOM jersey, I have got Tadej Pogacar. And then in the youth jersey, I've got Lenny Martinez. But before I wrap up the video, I want to just touch on a bit of bad news regarding the Tour de Romandie. So the yellow jersey still doesn't have a sponsor. They have been looking for one for the past wee while, and they still don't have one a week out from the start. And also the fact that 4 World Tour teams have opted out of racing this year's Tour de Romandie, which is unfortunate to see. I think the rule is they get to opt out of 1 every three years or something like that. So the teams that did opt out are Decathlon, Alpecin, Lotto Intermarché and Uno X. So they're out of it this year. They'll be back next year and the year after. But there's going to be 15 teams at this race compared to the 20 last year. I suppose the start list this year does make up for the lack of teams, I guess, but it still is unfortunate to see for the race organisers. The only non-World Tour team at this race is Tudor Pro Cycling. You know, shock, the Swiss team is the only non-World Tour team at this race, but I mean, what can you do? The organisers were offered to invite other teams and they never bothered, so I guess we're just going to have to work with what we've got. But yes, they are my predictions, preview and 5 riders to watch at this year's Tour de Romandie. Let me know down below who you think is going to win it, but I'm going going to guess that everyone is going to say Pikachu, so let me know who you think is going to come second, I guess. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video as well. It does mean a lot. And don't forget, I'm also going to be live for every single stage of this race next week. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching the Final K, and all the best.